Okay, Smart Choices, or sorry, School Choices of Florida Department of Education Office, Independent Educational Parental Choice Office, and Monitoring and Reporting 2009's ESP Granting Training. The multiple year project of the maximum program performance period of 36 months is comprised in three budget programs: planning, program development of maximum 18 months, implementation of implementation 1 max 12 months, and implementation 2 max 12 months. Three budget periods combined may not exceed 36 months of the budget periods may not overlap. Planning to implementation signed of the Department of Education 150 project amendment request Department of Education Problem 101 budget narrative form. Signed copy of the charter contract, signed copy of the lease agreement of the facility, proof of the governance training, and itemized expense report. Implementation 1 to 2, implementation to 1 to implementation 2, signed Department of Education 150 project amendment request Department of Education 101 budget narrative form. Proof of the curriculum instruction, assessment of the accountability to training, proving business, financing, accounting training, itemized expense reports, and report indication progress toward each of the project objectives. Attachment J. Submitted at the end of the implementation 2, the itemized expense report of the report indicating progress toward each of the project objectives in attachment J. Reminded the IRS determination letter for 501c3 status. A copy must be submitted as soon as it has been received. Documentation must be submitted to your grant specialist at the Office of Independent Education Parental Choice and Florida Department of Education of 325 West Gainey Street, room 522, Tallahassee, Florida 323990400. Submit Department of Education forms to the sponsors for appropriate signatures. To expedite the transition between phases and avoid time-consuming errors, make sure that you are appropriate forms. The charter school use only. Email or fax the Department of Education forms to the grant the specialist to remove the grant the specialist for review of prior to submitting them to the sponsor. When reporting progress towards the grant's objective, to be sure to label each of the document with specific objectives, supports, or verifies. Grant specialists will conduct site visits and make grant recipients as possible to monitor in compliance with the program requirements. Site visits will occur primarily during the implementation 1 of the budget period. The Department of Education will send in written notification prior to the visit. The school principal must be available during the site visit. Site visits typically take 3 to 4 hours to complete. During the site visit, the representation from the Department of Education will request to examine the following documentation for the only items to be purchased in the CBSP grant funds: itemized expense reports and proof of the purchase, receipts, travel vouchers, requisitions, invoice, payroll check records, purchase orders, contracts, etc. Inventory records. May request the walkthrough of the charter school, the facility, with physical verification of items purchased by the CSP grant funds. The following are the questions that may be asked of the documentation that may be requested for the inspection during the visit. How did your school use the CSP grant funds to meet the original goals, objectives as stated in the application? What documentation do you have to support the grant funded expenditures? Examples of the purchase is required. The documentation includes staff salaries, other consulting fees, professional services, marketing requirement materials, travel and accounts for furniture, computers, software, equipment, and supplies, curriculum, materials, and professional development and/or training. When purchase of the grant funds may be made, the contracting with the vendor provided that the copy of the competitive bids cost analysis for these purchases. To receive funding of implementation 1 and 2 of the following documentation required for the training, as in person provided with the training data. The training for person receiving the training and the title of the charter school will include the pre-K to adult education students. How does the school distinguish the use of CSP grant funds between grade levels? In admission with the lottery, what was used to do the school policy? In admission lottery was used. Do the school policies meet the state and federal requirements for the inventory system? Has your school implemented track merchandise purchase with the CSP grant funds and i.e. purchases with life or more than 1 year? What documentation do you have to support the inventory system? Item 3 categories: capital outlay, all 600 object codes on materials and supplies, all 500 object codes. Inventory management. Use of equipment. All items purchased must be used by the school and through K through 12 receiving the grant, even after the CSP funding expires. Disposition of equipment. When original equipment acquired under the CSP grant is no longer needed, the disposition of the equipment will be made specified in the Department of Education Green Book, Section F. Item documentation, serial number, the other ID, description of the item, the funding of the source, and the percentage of acquisition date, cost, room, location, condition, disposition date. Inventory conducted annually, updated item condition, inventory data of the room, location, disposition date, most research, and unusual findings. The chair, for instance, they had add a chair, 16-inch student soft plastic nylon guides. The cost $12 from the whatever. Hand out 14 inventory management examples. Questions and answers.